Broads Media.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. This is going to be a laid-back Friday show. I don't feel like blowing a gasket screaming about A.J. Brown and his Twitter account. Is it really him? Is it not really him? Does he actually want to go on WIP to freak out at the afternoon show? Does he not want to actually call into WIP and freak out on the afternoon show? Whatever. It's just not in my blood currently as I sit here today. All right, now maybe later on my opinion changes. Maybe something happens that sparks a fire. But as for right now, it's sort of a Freaky Friday mode. Laid back, a little different, whatever. I don't have it in me at this current time. But I do have some thoughts on this Phillies team as we gear up for our first game Saturday afternoon for a little spring training action. Doesn't that smell awesome? When I say that, can't you smell that, right? Like, can't you picture beautiful weather down in Florida, the birds chirping, cuckoo, coo, coo. You know that sound when you're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old and you're on summer vacation and you don't have school anymore and you go play pickup basketball or you're playing hockey with everybody in the neighborhood. Car! You pick up the net, you walk it over to the side of the curb, the car goes through, and then you move the net again, you put it back. There's 15, 20 kids outside. Cuckoo! Coo! 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 We know that sound. Well, that's what I'm hearing when I'm picturing a little Phillies baseball this weekend, and I can't wait. So plenty to talk about. Kyle Schwarber and the piece on MLB.com from Todd Zalecki, JT Realmuto, Bryson Stott, and, of course, your phone calls. We got a bunch, so we'll throw everything around. Before we do that, we are on a mission here to continue growing Broads Media in every way possible. So if you are enjoying this mess, make sure to subscribe and leave a thumb up. But we also have more Broads Media content coming your way. Coffee with Broads is back starting March 28th, which is opening day. Join the Broads Media membership here on YouTube for $4.99 a month, and you will have access to Coffee with Broads live streams every Monday and Thursday at 11 a.m. It'll be laid back, super chill, and very interactive with the chat. Also, there's a Broads Media Discord channel, too, that is currently active as we speak, where we will communicate live when games are going on, talking about the action in real time. Nothing is changing with the current pods. This is an added bonus if you want some more content in your life. I'm looking forward to starting Coffee with Broads live streams again March 28th, and make sure if you're interested, you grab your membership today. So where I want to start off is the Kyle Schwarber piece from Todd Zalecki, and essentially it was breaking down the change and how he's going to approach the batter's box differently. And last year he pulled the ball way more than his career average. He normally flirts around 44% or so pulling the ball. He was closer to 50. Was that 52 and a half or 57 and a half? I can't even read my own damn handwriting. So good thing I actually, on my second computer over here, actually still have the piece pulled up so I can just scroll and find it. He pulled the ball a total of, hold on, this is him talking about him enjoying driving. Okay, 52 and a half. So 52.5% last season, close to 44% was his career mark. So clearly doing a lot more pulling of the ball. And they went back to 2021 where he was hitting .266. My man's barely touching a batting average of 200 now. You get him to .266 and I'm running around naked. You got 17 cops trying to catch me as I'm running down the Black Horse Pike here in South Jersey. And I'm just nude. Things are hitting things that shouldn't be getting hit. And I'm just running naked. Because 266. And they looked at his spreads and how when he took the ball to left center and left field, maybe it won't come with 50 bombs. Maybe it's 40 instead of 50. Maybe he takes a dip backwards. It only gives us 40 instead of 50, but it comes with the higher average, which I'm sure will make all of you people so happy. The ones that despise the greatest leadoff hitter of all time, for him to be getting on base more with his average. I mean, his on base percentage was still extremely important last season, even with all the strikeouts, even with the low batting average. But I digress. Today's not the day for that. I said I didn't want to blow a gasket. I said I didn't want to get all fired up, didn't I? I said I want to get laid back and chill and relaxed. Well, you give me one little ounce of Kyle Schwarber, and this is what happens to my life. I need a cup of coffee. That's what I need. Give me a second here. Let me hit the pause button. Not actually, but physically here. Let me hit the pause button. Let me get a little cup of coffee, a little sip of coffee. Maybe that can boil me down. Does that even make sense? Boil me down? Don't you boil and then the water starts to bubble up? This show sucks. Hold on. Oh, pour it into my veins. Pour it into my veins. Okay, this is the big thing, though. And some of these stats are mind-blowing. So they want Kyle Schwarber to stay away from 2 strike counts because when he had 2 strikes last season, he hit 104 with the 503 OPS. Without 2 strikes, these numbers are mind-blowing. 352 without, with the 1.324 OPS. That is insanity. That is monstrous. That is wow. Wow. Now, we already know that they're working with Bryson Stott to start having more of a calculated risk and being more aggressive when the count is 0-0. So first pitch, swing in, let's see if we can attack. And I got no issue with being aggressive. I like that. I like putting pressure on the other team. When you're a starter and you know Bryson Stott is more willing to attack early in the count, now you think differently. You approach differently. It changes the way that maybe you lean in, or I guess you don't lean in anymore and shake off pitches, but when you get the damn pitch calm in your ear, you're like, I don't know, man. This guy could go lefty grand slam in the playoffs on the first pitch. I've seen it. Now you start to overthink. Maybe you leave one over the heart of the plate, and bada bing, bada boom. Bryson Stott sent it to the moon. But I do have a little concern here, and I'd be lying if I pretended it wasn't there. We're now in a world where we want Kyle Schwarber to maybe attack earlier in the count so he doesn't have 2 strikes. He does see a lot of pitches, though, and he works a ton of at-bats, and he makes the starter go through a lot of thinking, a lot of mental stress, because you know that man is on a mission, and that man can put it in the seats, and that man can put it out of the stadium. Forget the seats, okay? Forget the fucking seats. This thing's going fucking over the building. So this guy's outrageous. It doesn't matter what the count is, but the moral of the story here is, one thing that Bryson Stott does so well, and I've expressed this before, is he'll work a 9-10 pitch at bat, and he's constantly going to foul pitches off, and he'll make the opposing pitcher's pitch count rise, and Kyle Schwarber can do the same thing. So if we are now asking them to maybe be willing to let it rip super early in the count, is that going to come from a detriment? Like, is there something, if that even made sense, I don't know, is that going to negatively impact some of their at-bats? And I'm sure it will to some level. If you have 50 at-bats and you're working through this new progress here, or this new process to see if there's progress, well then yeah, I mean, there's probably going to be some disappointing moments. It's a learning curve. Hey, that's not the one there, kid, right? Bryson Stott walks back to the dugout, 0-0 count. He swings at one that's a little low. He swings at one that's a little outside. Hey man, that's not the one. As you smack him on the ass and he puts his helmet back in his little spot, he's taking off his bat and gloves. There's probably going to be some disappointing moments, but if the end goal and the end result is the greatness outweighs some of those negative at-bats, and of course I'd sign up for it. I'm just more preparing everybody to know that that's going to happen, that's going to occur. They want some of their best hitters and some of the guys who work their best at-bats to rip it earlier in the count, essentially, is some of the adjustments that we're seeing over the offseason. So be prepared. And I'm not ruling out that this could be successful. I just don't want to lose sight of what makes them amazing, right? I want them to still be excellent in their own way, but you can always improve, and you can always look at things to clean up. JT Realmuto Realmuto was looking at things to clean up and essentially looking at some leg kick, going back into the lab. Matt Gelb on The Athletic had an awesome piece about it. And this is the time of the year where you're starting to hear a little bit more from what they did during the offseason, what they heard from some of the members of the organization as they were attacking their offseason to get better. You get a little bit more info on what they were doing. Here's Realmuto on how this isn't really going to be a dramatic reinvention for him. Quote, my hands are going to fire from the same exact spot as they've always fired, but now they're just going to get there easier. So my swing isn't necessarily changing. My setup is going to allow me to get to my swing more often and easier. What it's going to do is allow me to be on time and make better decisions. When I'm struggling, that's why I'm fighting, being on time. And then when I'm not on time, I make bad swing decisions. That's what we're trying to combat. And he clearly is swinging at some stuff way off the plate, and he's clearly having some issues on the inside of the plate. So just excited and juices flowing, being a baseball head and reading up on some swing changes. It gets the blood going. So it puts a smile on my face. Those are my original thoughts here before we start taking your calls. Let's take phone calls here on the Anytime Hotline and give you guys all an opportunity to share your thoughts on this team. And let me pull up the Anytime Hotline thing. This computer sometimes pisses me off. With the Mac and the mouse, sometimes I zoom in because I'm scrolling. I'm not trying to zoom in. Then I can't find the play button. It's a whole disaster here at Broads Media. All right, let's fire it up.
Man, bro, hearing your thoughts on Rod Thompson now, all these months after, versus what you thought, when it was going down and you were kind of like sticking to your guns is a good thing. It's really interesting to hear, kind of your thoughts now. And now that Rod Thompson, he's doing all of his posties and all of his talks, and you're dissecting them. I kind of agree with you back then, when it first happened, that you got to stick with your guns. And I thought we all saw Kimbrel. It was atrocious, and Rob said he would still stick to it. And look, you said it yourself. He wants to stick with his guys, and even though he's not in the ball club anymore, he's going to be behind them during and after. Like, it's going to affect his future prospects and all that. And if the reason why, let's say a Bryce Harper, if he were to go, I wouldn't trust a guy that as soon as I'm gone, he's going to start throwing me under the bus. So he's not going to start throwing Craig under the bus now that he's gone. Thanks to that guy, people like Rice are going to resign and all that, but you got to be behind your guys while they're here and when they're gone. In a situation like this, it's got to be really disgusting for you to have to really throw him under the bus after the fact. And that would still be a bad look. It will be a bad look. I'm excited. And at the end of the day, look, when you take a step back, do I think that we were going to win the World Series? Maybe, maybe not. We always have a chance. When you're in the game, you have a chance, whatever the chance is. I know that it would have been a better World Series if we were there, hands down. Just hands down, it would have been better games, better series. But I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it because the future we have is unprecedented, and you can see that in the energy that you're bringing to this season. You're bringing a lot of energy, and you're hyping me up. I'm getting into baseball in ways I haven't even gotten into it before. So I'm excited. We all are excited. You know what I'm saying? I'm up in here in New York now, bros, and I got to rep these Phillies for all these fucking Mets fans. Rub that shit up their nose. Rep this shit for even the Yankees fans, man. Fuck them. Love you, bros. Keep up the good work. And at the end of the day, Rob Thompson's a dog, bros. He's a dog. He says the right things even when he's not saying the right things. So I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Thanks for the call, man. Being up there in New York, having to deal with that garbage. Although they were so excited for Steve Cohen to turn this whole thing around, and then they end up being a disaster last season. And now, unfortunately, they're dealing with injuries, and you never want to see that at all. But it just really continues that black cloud, essentially, surrounding the Mets organization. They can never figure out anything right. Now the Pete Alonso storylines are starting to pop. What they should do from a financial standpoint, standpoint? Is it willing to attach yourself to him? Are you not willing to do it? I don't know. Listen, I don't give a damn about the Mets at all. I got one focus, and that's beating the Braves and winning this damn division and actually starting the season off hot and not having to worry about a World Baseball Classic and seeing if Kyle Schwarber can start the season off without a slow early start, and maybe he can hit those bombs and maybe go the other way and have some more average by focusing on not just pulling the baseball and then bada bing, bada boom, our leadoff hitter's hitting 250, and now things are all shining bright again. You know what I'm saying? In regards to the Rob thing, though, yeah, in the moment, I remember really giving him more of the benefit of the doubt with the decision of going to Craig. And even back when they lost to the Houston Astros, the decision to go to Jose Alvarado. I really didn't despise them as much as others did. The one, though, that I'm really not giving him a free pass on, there's actually two. It was the Rojas one, and at the time I hated it. Allowing him to bat in the fourth inning of Game 7 with bases loaded, it's unacceptable. And how he handled Christopher Sanchez. So 2 of the 4 decisions I can understand and acknowledge that it wasn't as egregious as maybe the public perceives. And then the other half is, dude, you got to be better. You got to be sharper on your toes, and you got to be more willing to give Christopher Sanchez a leash there because you're dealing with a bullpen game on the other side, and you can't remove your advantage from it. But, yeah, you're right. Throwing Craig under the bus, and as soon as somebody leaves, you start to have different opinions on things, and you're more open and willing to say things publicly. That will rub anybody in the clubhouse the wrong way because you have to keep your guard up. Hey, if I'm out of here, what's Rob going to say about me, right? You know, you just try and keep it 100. Now, at the same time, I don't know how much of that was really involved here. If I put Rob Thompson on a lie detector test, I just think he truly liked the decision. I think deep down, regardless on what does it say to the clubhouse, what does it say to former players, because he mentioned that he would maybe think about the Rojas thing again, and he's being honest, and Rojas is still here, and I don't think Rojas is looking at Rob going, screw you. I think he's looking at his own personal play saying, I got to hit better than 100 in the playoffs. I got to have the ability to put the ball in play. I have to find a way to learn how to bunt. I got to keep myself here because this team needs me, and I know I can provide excellence on the defensive side of the ball. I could be their everyday center fielder, right? Like, that's the way he's got to be thinking, and it shows by his work ethic that seems to be sort of where hey, I get it. I'm sort of battling for a spot here, but there's definitely a golden opportunity. And if I improve, Rob's not wrong. Rob's not wrong. I wasn't good enough. I could hit way better than I did. I was an issue. I need to improve. And you know, they were very willing to sort of publicly admit that maybe I'd rethink that Rojas one. So I just think he was being honest. I do. I think deep down he was just being honest. He didn't like the Rojas decision, and he liked the Craig Kimbrell one. And however that sounds to his clubhouse, it sounds. I like Rob. You said Rob's a dog, and you're not wrong. I like Rob Thompson, and I think that he is an excellent leader. It's just there's a little tiny part of him so far over the last 2 years that makes me wonder. Just makes me wonder. And I like Rob a lot. I'm just being honest. That's all. I like Rob a lot. I don't want him to go anywhere. I like Rob a lot. I just want to make sure that that's heard because, God forbid, you just throw a couple things out there and then automatically it's, well, I mean, how dare you criticize him? I'm not criticizing him. Yes, I am, actually. I am criticizing him. But I'm just telling you what happened. Things happen, right? Things happen. Rob's been great 98% of the time. And no one's 100%. I'm aware of that. There's a 2% of playoff baseball that has not been sexy. Those non-sexy decisions backfired. Phillies did not win. Was it because of lack of execution or was it because of said decisions? We'll find out. We'll find out as they continue to make another push here. But yeah, Rob's a dog. I'm with you. I appreciate the call. Hey, before we continue, Let me tell you about my friends over at HelloFresh because they are giving you free breakfast for life. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and HelloFresh agrees. In fact, they're giving all subscribers free breakfast for life. That means you'll enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery. Now that's worth waking up early for. Go to HelloFresh.com/BroadsFree and use code BroadsFree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/BroadsFree with code BroadsFree. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. My wife and I have started using HelloFresh for a while now, and it's so perfect. We don't have to go to the grocery store anymore. You go online, you see over 40-plus recipes to choose from, and it gets you outside of your comfort zone, outside of your little box of when you make recipes every night. You're making the same meals all week. It's like, all right, I'm getting bored of this. Well, then this is what's helping you get outside the box, something that you're not traditionally used to making, you wouldn't think of on your own. It's like, oh, wow, that looks delicious. That looks fantastic. It gets shipped right to your doorstep. It's all pre-portioned, so you don't have to measure anything out. You can't screw it up. You just pour the bag into the skillet, into the pan, into the oven, and you just follow the 8-step recipe card that gets sent to your house with pictured step-by-step information on it. It's so good. It is so good. I mean, it is so good. You'd be a fool not to sign up. Make sure you check out the information down below in the description and get yourself started today. All right, let's take another Phillies phone call here. Let's do it.
Well, bros, I'm starting to really enjoy all the new Phillies podcasts.
Me too.
I mean, it's coming. My thing is this, and this is like almost a side quest. So if you put it into the show, I can understand if you don't. But with the Yamamoto thing, how we really racked into it, and to touch on the Bryce Harper, I cannot wait until one of these big contracts for any team blows up in their face. What's the guy?
Shohei?
Yamamoto. He's not proven at all. What if he sucks in the majors? Then you signed him to this buku bucks for nothing. And the other dude, I'm drawing a blank, the greatest pitcher that I've seen in a while that they signed too.
Shohei?
He's injury prone.
Well,
what if something happens to his arm?
Well,
it's already starting to happen. He's a great bat, but not billion-dollar bat.
Well, hold on. He's way more than just a big bat. I mean, this guy is Justin Verlander plus Clayton Kershaw plus Garrett Cole plus Zach Wheeler in an arm. And then he's Kyle Schwarber plus Mookie Betts plus Bryce Harper at the plate. So, no, I mean, these are two completely different situations. One guy hasn't done it in the major league level, but, Dave Dombrowski's a very smart man, right? You've heard me say that a billion times. He's got an eye for ball. I mean, there's reasons why the entire world are enamored, the whole baseball world, all these teams are enamored by what Yamamoto provides. Now, I don't know what he's going to be. I'd be lying if I said he's definitely dynamic, but it definitely leans towards everyone who knows a lot about baseball thinking that it will absolutely have very similar success in the majors. But sure, you can make a convincing argument that it is a big risk, but once again, everything is a big risk. So you don't want to sign Shohei Ohtani, any of these guys. Aaron Nola just got a big deal at an age where he's around 30 years old that will bring him to 37. At any point, things can go wrong. Bryce Harper wants to get signed till he's 45. Half these fans in the city right now are like, yeah, Bryce, for some stupid, moronic reason. Yeah, Bryce. You don't think something bad could happen from Bryce Harper's time from now until age 45? I mean, any of these contracts are big. Sure, we don't know about Yamamoto, but I'll trust Dave Dombrowski and say if that dude was willing to put more money on the table than the Dodgers and go after him and add him in between. What if he's great, right? Like you bring up the side of what if he stinks and what if it can't really relate to this era and this game and this league compared to where he was playing previously. Well, what if he's excellent? What if the Dodgers just picked up someone who can sniff a sub-2 ERA 5 years in a row or at least be in the 2.4, 2.5 range of ERA every single season? There is a side of it where that's also the case, and then they struck gold and they got someone who's phenomenal, right? The Shohei Ohtani thing, though, I mean, you'd be a fool not to be going out and paying a ton of cash for him. No matter what injury he had, if he could pitch, if he can pitch, for this upcoming season, that is. Long term, he'll be throwing again. It's a different era of Tommy John surgery. It's a different era of a lot of this stuff with medicine and rehab and surgeries and all that stuff, where I watched Justin Verlander and everybody think that his career was done and it was over and there's no way that he'll have any sort of success because, well, he's that old, he's got a lot of innings pitched, and now he's having a big-time injury. Yeah, hey, shove this Cy Young up your ass. That's what he'd be saying. You see this thing, shove it right up the keister, and he's got a point. So I'm not worried about, oh, well, what if some of these contracts, this is going to continue. And I want the Phillies to be in on some of these Japanese pitchers if this is going to continue. I want them to be in. I don't want them missing out because they're worried or they're scared. Do your research. Get the information you're looking for. Work with your scouts. What do you think? What do you see? All this stuff. Do your homework and then come up to your decision on what you think he'd be worth it. And clearly, Dave Dombrowski thought that it was the time to open up the checkbook and it would be something that they would be worthy of doing. And that's their job. Their job is to figure out how to get those guys. Their job is to find premier talent. And if that premier talent happened to be someone playing in a different league, but you can bring him in here and put together a package and have Bryce Harper be the face of that package, or at least flirt it in there for a little bit of time to try and convince him to come to town, I don't have as much of an issue with it, especially not the Shohei Ohtani thing at all. All right, let's go back to the phones here.
Yeah, so I have a question about the Phillies. My one question is, would you be willing to unload a guy like Rojas if he has a good year? Maybe some prospects, McGarry, Abel, Crawford, even Painter.
Ooh.
If Mike Trout is healthy and having a good season at the deadline, would you unload a bunch of those pieces to go all in for Mike Trout?
Yeah, probably. The Painter one scares me. I do not want to put Andrew Painter in there. That one, I need to have more time. No, I don't think I'm giving up Andrew Painter. The second I say that, though, you know what I hear? And let me be clear. The Andrew Painter thing aside, you bring up all those other names, yes. The Andrew Painter thing sits on an island of its own, and we need to have a real discussion. The only reason why I bring that up, the only reason is because I'm now, and I think Andrew Painter is going to be a stud. I think he could be a number one pitcher of an ace. Like, I do not want to get rid of him. I'm not just throwing him around, so remember, remove him. I'm talking about every other name you just mentioned right now. Abel, McGarry, the Crawford one might rub people the wrong way, whatever. Prospects are prospects, and the reason I bring this up is I did not want to trade JT Realmuto for Sixto Sanchez. It was not something I was looking forward to doing. It was not something that I thought was smart, and then now Sixto Sanchez looks like Bartolo Colon. There was a picture of him surfacing on Twitter yesterday of him throwing something. That dude was huge. That dude was massive. He's a nobody right now. I thought he was going to be the next best thing, and it was a great decision by Matt Klentak and the Phillies to pull the trigger on that trade. It just was. And I never thought that was the case at the time. If I can get one of the best players the planet has ever seen, I'm going to bring that in for Abels, McGarry's, Crawford's, and this whole Sixto Sanchez thing is making me wonder. I'm not saying yes to Andrew Painter. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying yes. All right? I'm not saying yes to Andrew Painter today as we sit here. But that scenario that I just mentioned with JT Realmuto and Sixto is in the back of my mind. And remember, if you were to make a trade for Mike Trout, he is signed through, what year does his contract end? The injuries are real, though. He's signed through 2030. So you got Mike Trout signed for a long-ass time at about 37 on the books, it looks like. 35, the payroll salary, the luxury tax salary, 35, signing bonuses. Okay, yeah, so in that 35, 36, 37 range, and yeah, for one of the best players in baseball history, yeah, I'd absolutely look to bring in Mike Trout. And if you didn't hear, for the first time, it seemed that he acknowledged that, sorry, I just drew a blank. He acknowledged that maybe eventually he will ask. Maybe eventually it will be time. That's the first time I heard it. Normally it's I like Los Angeles, I like the Angels, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why. It's the Damian Lillard thing of Portland, and it's like, why do you want to stay in Portland? Well, I love this place. And okay, all credit to you. Your team stinks, and now Anthony Rendon doesn't want anything to do with playing the sport. I got no problem if you say your family's more important and your religion, your faith, whatever it is more important. I got no problem with you putting that higher than baseball. But what you can't do is shit on baseball when you're getting paid $30+ million and signing such a big deal to go to LA. Like Rendon's a douche. And I think that's now your teammate. That's now your organizational failure. Is that guy's a face of it all? Him and Mike Trout now without Ohtani. They just botched the entire Ohtani situation and assets, and the whole thing is super sloppy out there. You got to get out of that franchise. You have to. And he finally opened the door for it. Hallelujah. Now, somebody called into the radio station when I was on, and take it with a grain of salt, said he grew up around Mike Trout, grew up in the Millville area, never really was a big baseball guy. Mike Trout was so good at other sports, and nobody really projected him to be a baseball guy. And then eventually he took off, and then the money was so big. And, normally it was other sports, basketball, football. There was other intentions out there, and there was speculation from this caller. Take it for what it is. Speculation that baseball he was just good at. Naturally, he was just good at, and it's nice that you can get a fat bag playing that sport. And maybe the reason why he's okay with staying in Anaheim, nice weather, beautiful place, and this and that. Baseball is just kind of there to help him make some money kind of thing. It wasn't really his original sport. Other sports were at the top of mind, but he was really good at this one, so he took it for a ride, and bada bing, bada boom. Now, I have no idea if that's true. None. 0% knowledge if that's true or not. But would it make sense? Would it make sense? Well, I'm spitballing. All right, everybody, there you go. A little light Friday action. I appreciate you guys to death. You know that. I love you. I love you. I love you. Oh, how did I not bring this up? Phils are 151 and 100 with Kyle Schwarber leading off. Under 500 when not at 45 and 48. Talk to you guys next time. Okay, see you on the next one.